Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last session of the day. This is Paolini from Senza Filli, and I'm an analyst, and I am honored and very pleased to talk today to Wang, who is a chief technologist for network and AI at China Telecom, and she joined recently, but before she's been doing a lot of work on this area too. So from a vendor perspective, so she has a really broad view of the overall topic. But I think it's much better if you introduce yourself first, and then we will go with our conversation. So thanks for being with us, and tell us who you are and what you're doing right now.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Monica. I'm Yuan, as Monica introduced. I'm currently the chief technologist on network and AI in China Telecom. So basically, what the role is that you have a different expert looking after the different area domain, and mine is on the integration of AI and the network. Previously, before joining China Telecom, I worked in Samsung in the UK, Samsung Research Lab in the UK, where I worked on 6G research, the advanced network research as well. So yeah, that's all about me. Thank you.
Well, that's yeah, you actually been doing a lot of work. You wrote an excellent report. I know that much. That's the latest. Anyway, so we have network. You work at a very interesting place. It's just network and AI, and clearly they're coming together. So there is a lot of AI out there, and we're trying to bring it to improve the network. What do you see that they are? What do you think are the main drivers behind this convergence between AI and networks?
And thanks for the question. It's a really good one. I actually have some thoughts about that, and I hope I'm not too controversial. So I think it is when the network. It is when we have a network that is doing so well and can really meet the AI requirements. So let me explain this. You know how we have been talking about, AI for networks and networks for AI. I think as an industry, we have done quite a lot on AI for networks. There have been so many cases for using AI to cut costs, to boost the efficiency, and to enable automation, Gen AI for customer services, for example. And I think telco world has embraced the AI so deeply, and I think it is also in serious need of AI, whether it is to truly drive the technology innovation or simply to stay relevant. But I think on the flip side, AI development hasn't really dependent too much on the advancement of the network technology so far. I think the heavy demand has been on data centers, servers, chipset, but not on the network, at least for now. I think most of the AI models are trained and deployed in the cloud on the terminal. And if that remains to be the case, to be fair, I think as long as I can send my models and data through the network within an acceptable time frame, my AIs are doing fine. So how to get network relevant to the AI development, I think is quite crucial. So what I think we need to realize is that with these new AI services and the AI workloads in the network, the network is not just supporting the connectivity and accommodating the network loads, but also the AI loads. And it needs to support both AI loads and network loads at the same time. And then I think that puts new requirements and opportunities for the network to evolve and better support AI. And so this is like we talked about like the evolvement of the network technologies in the past, how to better accommodate AI, like how the networks needs to be sufficiently softwareized, automated, being able to orchestrate both the computational and the communication resources dynamically and at the same time and end to end. So I think if we look at the current network and the demands from the AI would be like, no, I'm not seeing traffic increase for the moment. There's little opportunity for the network. Our network is doing fine. Let's not change it. But I think at the same time, what we need to realize is to support the new AI services, we need much more than just a pipe. And it needs to be an intelligent infrastructure that powers the AI operation with the integration of computation and communication resources. And I think the network at the moment is far from that. And I think that's why, because we can't support AI services that well. And I think that integration of AI into the network is not as like what we hoped, like seamless integration yet.
Now, I want to ask you about the applications, but before we go there, let me ask you, from what you say, what seems to be crucial is to not just add more AI, but add more AI towards the edge. So it's not just AI. Is that right?
Yeah, I think add more AI. It's not definitely not just about adding more AI. It's about adding more AI at the right place and being able to accommodate AI like all over the network. Like for example, there has been AI in the run to for example reduce the run energy consumption. There has been so many use cases, but how to make those AIs to work well with each other, interaction and coordination of these AI models. And we need to remember, if these AI models are just at the cloud or on the terminal, it doesn't have that much to do with the network, to be fair. I mean, the network is just a pipe. So you would really want to have the use cases where the AI requires both mobility as well as the compute resources. And I think that makes perfect sense when AI is at the edge.
Yes, absolutely. So now let's move forward to understand why do you need it more at the edge? And so that in order to understand that, we need to understand what are the mobile AI applications that you see as emerging right now, because that would just going to explain why you said what you said to put it all together.
Yeah. I think we have already seen cases like robotics used in the factories, lifting goods, in the hotel, the shops, airports. We have seen those moving robots can offer navigation, information, customer services. Now these intelligent devices, they are not just only smartphones, like the factor of the terminal we have today. I think they are emerging into the diverse agents, equipped with sensing, decision making, interaction capabilities, and they deliver these advanced features beyond the traditional voice assistant or the camera enhancement, and they require the real-time image and the video analysis, the real-time translation, for example, like AR, VR glasses we have on the go. So I think these are the rising new use cases where AI become more mobile, and having AI on the move is very good because suddenly mobility is relevant, and we're probably not there yet. But what we envisage is those these new AI services emerge, there's an increased demand to handle the complex tasks with, for example, visual and local text inference in the real time. Of course, we can do that on the terminal, but some terminals will have the limitations of the factor size, the GPU power, the batteries, and they will need to rely on the capability of the network for the high reliability connectivity, as well as the suitable compute closer enough to the user. So for example, at the edge, and these factors become essential for the deployment and the scalability of those new AI services.
And I guess that whenever you look at a new service, you need to, as I said, something will be on the device, some things will be in the cloud, some things will be at the edge, and then you also have to realize that you have pipes, and the transfer might have limitations on the transport, on the access. So you have to work around it. So it's a very complex thing to put all of it together. So how should we think about the impact that these applications will have on the network?
Mm. And yeah, so I think we touched upon this a little bit in the first question, where I said those AI models, they need to work together, right? So the network needs to provide that mechanism to facilitate the interaction and collaboration of the AI models. And data is also quite critical, because when AI is kind of distributed everywhere in the network, you would also need to pass in essential data. And then I think there is some impact on the network traffic as well. I know in the FutureNet conference in London a couple of weeks ago, there has been lots of discussions on, whether or not there will be traffic increase, and if Telco can make profit because of the emerging AI generated traffic, and whether that traffic volume is actually going up and down. But I think what we didn't get a chance to discuss is the structure and flow of the traffic as well. So I think, first of all, this expands the traffic types from the traditional media to the AI-specific payloads, such as model parameters, data segments, compute requests, tokens, and that demands a higher east to west throughput as opposed to the traditional north-south traffic. And then we talk about latency as well, because the AI applications such as those real-time voice interaction demand requires a really low latency. So it is also dependent on how much computational resources are available to access, and where are they located. So, for example, how much computational resources is actually sufficient, and how flexible the network can orchestrate those computational resources. Yeah, and to extend, do we need the GPU in each base station, or is it sufficient to have a relatively centralized computer infrastructure? So I think those are all the questions we need to answer as the new AI services come along.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be fundamentally different, as you point out, because right now, when we look at the traffic, it's human generated traffic by and large. Not all of it, but most of it. And we understand it to some extent. But then when we're going to get into AI to AI, basically traffic, it's just going to be very different. Because, an AI LLM or model is going to generate much different, not only more traffic, but it's a different type of traffic.
Exactly.
And so, we need to adjust. And but also, you mentioned the sort of the revenue part, because for an operator to accommodate this traffic, to accommodate all the AI infrastructure, there is a question: can they recoup their investment? So there, I guess there are different parts. You need to make an investment. Is it worth it? And what is the investment? What are the revenue opportunities? And also, there is a question somebody sort of start debating in terms of if your operating cost, so it's not just the initial cost, the operating cost that AI requires because of the computational resources that are needed. Is it just too much, or you're just spending in one place, but you're never going to recoup all this kind of operational cost? So what's your view on that?
Yeah, I think, that's first of all, absolutely a valid point. And I think it is probably related to kind of whether or not and how much we can monetize these new experience based on the invested infrastructure. And I think the uncertainty on the return of investment is real, but it doesn't justify like a wait and see approach. I mean, of course, we don't want to go for the extreme to create, disruptive overhaul, blind GPU proliferation. I think what we really need to do is to get a clear understanding on what we actually need So I mean, every generation of mobile network has some numbers on KPIs that are expected to be significantly increased, like going from times 10 to times 100 capacity. I'm just throwing random numbers. But I think right now what is missing is a solid understanding of the real demand. Like, do we really need an increase of times 100 or perhaps times 10 is good enough? Like when we build the AI infrastructure, like do we rely on the hardware grade upgrade for every site, or maybe a centralized computing infrastructure is good enough? Or are we flexible enough to orchestrate the different computational resources from different places? And perhaps if we can get around with upgraded algorithm and software. So I think another thing that is related to the return of investment is also the possibility of the business model transformation. I think this traditional traffic-based monetization model is kind of platooning. I mean, simply carrying more data from the AI-driven services won't capture too much value. It doesn't matter if GPU are put in the RAN or at the edge or in the cloud. The profits flow to the hyperscalers and the cheap vendors. And in that case, even if the traffic grows like 10 times or 100 times, without this new monetization framework, I mean, operator won't see a proportional return. So I think the question is, can we tap into that new value models that bring together the connectivity, compute, and the AI services? Like from the technology perspective, even if we can do that, can we can make our network super smart, and the operators can offer that on-demand combination of connectivity, compute, and the intelligence services? Could that open the new experience-driven on-demand revenue stream? And I think that requires a deep think on the current business model and kind of a drive from the whole industry, really.
Yeah, and I think I have two important things here. It's good enough, like you don't need to have everything absolutely up to the best on day one, and understanding the new business model. So it's like an ongoing process. It's not something that you just deploy in one day. And now this brings me to another question, which is, we've been talking about technology until now, but AI is in a way, it's more than a technology. It is a tool that requires a lot of other changes. So what do you think that the other factors are that are critical to the success of AI in our networks?
On top of my head, I think a healthy ecosystem is also quite critical. I mean, the progress of Telco doesn't happen in isolation. It depends heavily on the advancement in the surrounding ecosystem. And I think one issue I've noticed is while there are new AI-driven services might actually need certain network capabilities, if the mobile network isn't delivering what they require, they will just work around it. They go for the hyperscalers. I mean, there is already, the Microsoft Stack Edge. And so I think what we really need is to evolve the ecosystem as early as possible in our technology evolvement cycle. Otherwise, we can risk of being sidelined.
Absolutely. And yes, it's developing the ecosystem and be able to work with it, right? Okay, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we are at the end of our time, but thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Thank you very much, Monica.
And thank you all in the audience for listening to our discussion.